Hello everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Amitabh, a DevOps engineer and AWS community builder in a containers category. As in a previous part of Argo CD One-Shot Series, we have seen all these concepts in a previous part, and in this part of Argo CD One-Shot Series, we are going to deploy our application via UI, CLI and a declarative approach in Argo CD. So without any delay, let's get started. So now we are going to deploy our application via UI, CLI and a declarative approach in Argo CD. So for that, I recommend you to watch the previous video of this Argo CD One-Shot Series. Without that, you are not going to understand anything. So this is the EC2 instance that we are using. I have started this EC2 instance and this is the repository, and this is the dashboard of our Argo CD which we are running on a port 8080. So this is the repository that we are using. So let's understand the structure of our application. So this is the slash app directory that we are using, and this have the node modules, which is the Node.js application, so that we are using to develop our simple Node.js application. So this is the Docker file. So let's understand the Docker file first. So we are using the multi-stage Docker build to reduce the image size and security for our application. So we are using the first stage as the dependency, where we are installing the dependencies of production, and in the second stage we are using the same image, creating the working directory and copying the needed file inside the production, and we are creating the another non-root user for a security, so that a root user have multiple access, so it can make our application unsecure. So we are adding a non-root user for a security. You can use the Docker hardened images that comes by default as it. Now we are exposing the port 3000 of this container, so that we can access our application on port 3000 via port forwarding, and this is the cmd command to run the Node.js application. And now we have added the deployment. If we are using the Argo CD, then the deployment is going to be happen based on manifest file. So you need a deployment and a service to deploy your application initially. Later on, you can add multiple manifest file like ingress and a lot more. So currently we have the deployment and a service that we are using. So the API version is apps/v1, kind is a deployment, and the name of the deployment is the Argo CD demo. We are deploying in default namespace. Label we are creating is the Argo CD demo, so we can identify it in a service or the resources. And we want the replica too, so there will be the two replica for this application. This is the selector that we are creating. So this is the Argo CD demo name of the deployment that have to select and deploy our application. And for the container template, we are using the same label, and for the container we are using the name Argo CD demo, and the image of the application, this is this. And I will show you how we can build this image and push to Docker Hub, and from the Docker Hub this is going to be pulled automatically. And the container port, which will be the 3000, and this is the resource and the request limit for our application. And let's go to the service.yaml. So this is the API version, which is a v1, and the kind is a service. And in the metadata we are using the same name as we have the same application default namespace, and the type of the service is the cluster IP selector, as we have to select this application. And the port is 3000, which is the container port, and the our outside port, which we are going to save in our inbound rule, so that we can access our application. So this is the deployment and a service.yaml for our application. And now if I show you how the our application look like, so we will go to the slash app, and in cd app we will run the node server.js. So now if I open the localhost port 3000, so this is the application that we have to deploy on Argo CD using the Kubernetes. So I hope you understand what is the application that we have to deploy. So now we have seen the application. Let's stop it. So this is the server.js that we are running in our Docker file also. So now we have the code repository as same in our EC2 instance. So we will log into that EC2 instance and connect it. And in that we have the same repository as I'm using the Windows machine, so I need the Linux environment, so that we are using the EC2 instance. So I will go to the Argo CD, and Argo CD, we have the same code. You can see this is the same code inside our EC2 instance. And now we have to log in into the Docker Hub and build the Docker file and push it to the Docker Hub. So for that, I will go to the Docker Hub. This is the URL. You can go and sign in, and in that, go to the setting, account setting. In this, we need to generate the personal access token to log in via the Docker Hub. So we will generate a new token. So this will be the Argo CD One-Shot. So expiration is none. We need read, write, and delete. So this is the credential that I have to use to log in into my Docker Hub account. So you have to create your own. So this will not work. After publishing this video, I will delete this credential. So do not try this. So this is the, I have to enter this password. So login is success. Now we have to build the Docker file and push to the Docker Hub. So this is the very simple command we have, which is the docker build hyphen tag the username of your Docker Hub. So my username is the Amitabh DevOps slash what is the application image that I want to name it. So I will write as a Argo CD demo, and if I write the version like colon v1 dot 00, and where the Docker file is located inside our slash app directory, so we will write slash dot slash app, and it will build the Docker file. So the Docker image is built. Now just we have to push the image. So I will copy this tagged image, and we will write docker push, and they paste this image name, so it will push the image inside our Docker Hub repository. And now if I go to the Docker Hub again, Docker Hub, and we will see a new image that has been pushed. So this is what we can also automate via CI/CD if you want it. So you can watch the previous videos inside my YouTube channel. So there is a video about CI/CD. So you can see this is the image that have pushed within a less than a minute ago. So this is the application image that we have to use. So let's see the image name is correct or not. So this is the image name that we want. And if I see, so you can see the tag is also pushed. So we need this image. So let's check inside our deployment. So this is the same image. Let's confirm. So this is the same image that we have. So we don't need to change our deployment. And now I will show you whether we have running the Kubernetes cluster or not. So let's check kind get clusters. So this is the cluster that we have previously created. So the cluster is running now. Let's check the pods of the Argo CD. So kubectl get pods in the namespace of Argo CD. So we have deployed our Argo CD inside the Argo CD namespace. So this is the pod that we have inside our Argo CD. And let's check the services that we have in Argo CD. So these are the services, and we have port forwarded this Argo CD server to use this Argo CD UI. So now we have set up everything, push the images, and now we have to go to the setting. Inside setting, we have to connect the repository. So as we have previously connected our repository where we have all the changes. So this is the slash app directory where we have all the code. And now we will go to the application, and now I will show you how you can create your Argo CD application via this UI dashboard. So this is the place where our Argo CD application is running, And in the setting, if I show you the cluster that we have, so we have the cluster Argo CD cluster that we have added previously. So we have the in cluster, which is a default that Argo CD provide, and this is the new cluster that we have added previously. So was the previous part, and the connection is unknown because we haven't deployed any application yet. So it will be successful once our application is deployed. So this is your username, and you can refer the documentation if you wanted to learn about Argo CD. So now let's go through the application. So this is the application tab where we can create new application, sync the application if we have chosen the manual sync, and even you can refresh the application after connecting. There are several ways, so I will show you everything. So let's create a new application. So you can name it everything that you wanted in a lowercase. So Argo CD demo app, and you can create a project if you want it. In upcoming video we are going to see how we can create the project also. And we want the automatic sync policy. If the developer puts the changes inside our GitHub repository, it should detect automatically. We don't need to click on the sync application, so we will select the automatic. And I want to select the auto create namespace. If we forgot to create the namespace, so it will create inside our deployment and a service whether the namespace is provided or not. So we will select this. For now, let's ignore it and source the repository that we have connected, and the branch it have, which is a master. So we will write the revision as master branch. So okay, and the path is like where your Kubernetes manifest is stored. So I have the Kubernetes manifest stored in slash app. So I will write as a app slash, so sorry, slash app. So this is the path and the destination in which cluster you want to deploy your application. I want to deploy our application inside this cluster. And the namespace, you can select the default. So I will select the default. So this is the no need of right now, so I will click on create. So what is the error? Create application invalid, generate manifest slash app. Path is absolute. Okay, so just write app, don't need to do that. So you can see the application is started to create, and if I click on that, so you can see there is one error. What is that error? So I have identified the issue. I will let you know what is the exact issue. So first delete this application. So I will delete this application. Click on OK. So the issue is that we need to separate this deployment and the service.yaml in a separate folder, as the Kubernetes Argo CD is going to detect only this manifest, and other than file is going to cause the error. So we will create one another folder in slash app directory, which is the KATS, and we will move this file inside this, which will our service.yaml. So as we are providing the path as slash app, so it will detecting the all the files that is not needed in Argo CD, so that is causing the error. So the one lesson we have got to separate the manifest file in a separate folder while providing the destination path inside your Argo CD. So we will push these changes and we will create application again. So git add commit in separate in KTS directory, and we will post the changes. So we have the changes pushed inside our Git repository, and now again we are going to create a new application. So write the same name as you wanted. So project name is default, sync policy is automatic, auto create namespace, and now we will select the source as the repository that we have, and the master as the revision, and the path now we have is the k address. If I show you inside our GitHub repository, so in slash app we have the k address, so we will write like this, which will be app slash k address. So this is the path of our manifest. So destination will be the cluster that we have added. Namespace will be the default where our pod is going to run. So create it. So what is the issue again? Lowercase. So we have one space. So let's create it. So our application is started created. So you can see the sync is okay. Now we have our application healthy. So our application is deployed. Our deployment and service is running. So you can see this is the our application, this is the service, this is the deployment, and we have the resource which will going to have the pods. So this is the replica state that we wanted. So if I click on refresh, so this is the two pods that we wanted to deploy our application. Now if I go to the terminal and check inside our cluster what are the pod is running, kubectl get pods in the default namespace, so we don't need to write the default. So this is our pods that we have running, and if I check the services also, service, so this is the service that we have, Argo CD demo, and we need to port forward this port so to access our application. And if I check the replica also, kubectl get replica set. So you can see we have the replica set also where our two pods is running, and now we will port forward our Argo CD demo service to access our application. So kubectl port forward, which will be the service of Argo CD demo, which have the namespace as default, so we don't need to write it. So we need the port which will be the 3000 and 3000. So this is the container port and this is our host port. So we have this, and the address will be the 0.0.0 and ampersand. So now we have forwarded our service of Argo CD demo application. Now we will go to the security of EC2 instance, added the inbound rule, and we will add the one inbound rule for the port 3000 where our application is running. So previously I have already added it, so I don't need to do that. So I will copy the public IP and write HTTP and the public IP and then the port 3000. So here our application is deployed to Argo CD on EC2 instance via UI approach in Argo CD. So this is how you can deploy your application via Argo CD using the UI approach, whole the process that I have shown you. So this is the entire process to deploy your application via Argo CD using the UI approach. So I hope you understand how to do that. And so this is our application. So you can see the details. The project is default where the cluster is deployed. Our application, the namespace, created at health status, source you can also see, and the sync policy you can even check it. And if you wanted to edit, you can simply click on edit to edit. If there is a diff, you can check the difference between your git repository and Argo CD. If you got any error or there is not sync, so you can check that and click on sync. If you didn't have synced your application, you can check the sync status accordingly. This is the key feature that Argo CD provides, which is a history and a rollback. You can simply go to the previous version of your application. So this is the source parameter of our URL, and our time to deploy is 0 seconds. So there is no much minute has been taken by Argo CD to deploy our application. So you can easily roll back. If you wanted to delete your application, simply click on delete and enter the name of it. And so we have several views to see our application. So this is the tree view that we are currently watching, and this is the pod view, the currently what are the pods are running. So one pod on worker 1 and one pod or worker 2. So we have the next view is the network view, so you can see how the Argo CD service is communicating through the pods. And the next we have the list view of all the resources that we have inside our Argo CD. So I hope you understand. Inside left side you can simply search of the resources that you wanted to search. You can select this. So you can see this is how you can search. You can even search via the kind. So this is the deployment. And if you want to check via the sync status, so you can simply select this, so it will show you the synced application. If you want to see the out of sync, so there is no out of sync application, so you will not found any resources. You can even search via the health status if you have thousands of applications. So this filter is much useful once you have the lot of application deployed on Argo CD. So I hope you understand how to deploy your application via the Argo CD UI approach. And in the next video, we are going to see how we can deploy our application via the Argo CD CLI and the declarative approach. So for the brief view of the declarative approach is you just write the manifest of your application. So what is the application name, project name, sync policy, and you define the source, destination. Just we need to write inside the YAML file. So it will deploy your application automatically. And in a CLI approach, we will use the CLI command like Argo CD create application. This is the command that we are going to use to deploy or create application inside the Argo CD via CLI. And now if you want to see how you can delete the application, so simply click on delete and copy the name of your application. So it will delete your application. Always select the foreground, so it will delete the your application properly, and you don't need to wait for that. So now you can deploy multiple applications simultaneously. So this is all about the UI approach or inside Argo CD to deploy application. And now I recommend you to stop the EC2 instance also. So just stop the EC2 instance. We will use this EC2 instance in the next part of the upcoming video inside Argo CD One-Shot Series. So I hope you understand all the concept regarding the Argo CD till now, how to deploy your application via UI approach in Argo CD. So in the upcoming video we will cover the CLI and the declarative approach also. So मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, बाय.